I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. This is Stop Drinking Alcohol 78. Today I want to talk about one of the benefits of quitting drinking, which is that you have no more hangovers. I also want to talk about positivity and determination. These are two of the strengths that you can build up yourself, and the more you practice them, the more you'll build them, and they can really help you, regardless of whether you're just starting out or a long time into your journey. And finally, I want to talk about the question: how can I go into the pub with my mates and still have a drink? Just before I start the video, this Thursday's podcast, it'll be session 7. I'm going to talk about some of the books that I've read over the years, and I'll put links down below the posts. I'm probably going to do this over a couple of weeks because there's quite a few books to get through. So I hope you'll come over to the website for that. So let's crack on with the videos. So this question is, how can I go into the pub and not drink? There's a couple of questions you have to ask yourself. First one is, do you think the pub is the right place for you to go when you're not trying to drink? Why do you want to go into the pub in the first place? Are you going to be able to go into the pub long term and not drink? At the beginning you have to think about short term. You'd think it would be really easy to be able to just not do something. I think we're built in a certain way, shape or form to save as much energy as we possibly can. So, not doing something sort of seems to me to be something that I'm very good at, I think most people are very good at doing something, We do it 8 hours a day, no problem. Lie down, don't do anything, and go into some kind of a catatonic state. So you think that, stopping doing something would be fairly simple. The problem is that once you put a long-standing habit into the equation, a lot of cultural pressure, a lot of individual pressure, a chemical into the brain, and it doesn't it's not as simple anymore. The question, how do I go into the pub and not drink, should be fairly self-explanatory. It's in the question. The not drink part, you just don't drink. But with all those other things in your mind, it isn't as simple as that. The problem is the environment. It's the pub. It's fairly easy to not drink in certain places, like if you were swimming, for instance. You could set up a situation where you were drinking, but you just don't. Deep sea diving, even deep sea diving, you could possibly, it's conceivable to set up some form of an apparatus where you could take the odd sip out of an alcoholic drink, but you would never think about doing that. You'd never think about doing it in church, apart from the communion wine. Other situations where you wouldn't do it would, in normal circumstances, would be while you were driving or while you're working. There's severe consequences to both of these actions if you're caught out. Even the bar environment, which is set up basically for people to drink, there's a possibility that you can go in there and not drink. I would never have gone into a pub. Some of the pubs were open in the morning, and just that smell first thing in the morning would be enough to knock you out. I've wandered into a bar at lunchtime and not had a drink because I have to get back to work, and there's no way I can take a drink, So, and under those circumstances, however much you'd like a drink, you just don't have a drink, even in that bar environment with all the alcohol around you. But the situation is completely different when you walk into the bar at the normal time of the day, when you would normally have a drink. You go into your regular bar, you go into the corner and sit in your regular stool. Your regular buddies come around and they're drinking their regular beers, and you're not. You're sat there drinking tonic water. That's where the difficulty lies, because every bone in your body, especially in the beginning, is saying, drink, drink, drink. This is not just about not drinking, it's about being the odd one out. I mean, in the best of situations, we don't like being the odd one out. It just doesn't sit right with us. Being the odd one out means inevitably you're going to get kicked out of the group. We mix with people who are like-minded, and we do that for a very good reason. It's in the hard wiring. If it's very easy to, if you're in a group where you're accepted and you get attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, going back to the wiring again, you've got a group of lads there to back you up, to defend you. Whereas if you've got no group and you've got no affiliations, you're on your own, against this tiger. You've no chance. The problem is not going into the pub on one occasion with your old drinking buddies and sitting there and putting up with it and, all that kind of stuff. Anyone can do that. Sitting there one night, easy. You might feel uncomfortable, you might feel a bit left out, but, you get through the night, you might even leave early, But to do it over and over again, to try and still keep the old social connections going and keep that part of your social life going, while not drinking, is a completely different story. How long are you going to keep that up for? You're in a situation where you would normally drink. You're with people who are drinking, and you're not drinking. That just doesn't make sense. It's not going to last. Part of this thing is not only getting alcohol out of your life. That's the easy part. That's, you just stop doing that. It's a momentary decision. You're drinking you're a drinking person 1 minute, and the next minute you're not a drinking person. The whole thing is to change your lifestyle. If you try and keep the same lifestyle as you had, and only change the alcohol part of it, it's not going to work. It's like a heroin user going back and sitting with his mates who are still injecting and trying to keep that lifestyle. I mean, what's the point? The whole point of him changing his lifestyle is changing the getting away from heroin is to change his complete lifestyle and to make something out of his life, to stop the self-destructive patterns that are happening. So another thing I wanted to talk about today was positivity and determination. Now, positivity and determination are two of the most important tools that you can have in your arsenal, not only when you're trying to stop drinking, but when you're trying to get rid of any bad habits in your life, or when you're trying to instill any good habits, or just in life in general. They're just two top quality tools. Positivity is all about being your own best friend. It's about telling yourself that you can do this. It's about giving yourself a pat on your back as often as you can, and it's about telling yourself, being nice to yourself, being good to yourself, telling yourself good things. There's enough badness in the world without you adding to it, especially when it comes to yourself. Abraham Lincoln said that most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be, something like that. And, he's dead right. If you make up your mind to be a miserable git, then that's basically what you're going to be. If you make up your mind that you're going to enjoy every moment of your life, and that no matter what, even through the hardships, you're going to, plod on, and you're going to, keep things positive, then that's basically what will happen. You get a lot of people who don't like it, don't like the idea of positive thinking, and try and twist it around that, everyone's living with their head in the sand, that they see life through rose-tinted glasses. And I'm not talking about that kind of positivity. I'm not talking about looking at bad times and going, oh, they're not really bad at all, It's all the way you look at things. You have to be realistic with it, but it's about looking at the bad times in your life and trying to put as positive a spin on them as you possibly can. Because what is the point otherwise? You can look at things in a negative way or a positive way, and for me especially, it's just such a helping thing to try and think about the positivity in it, while dealing with the issue. I spent so much of my life hiding from my problems that now I'm sort of relearning ways to handle my problems, and that is the best way for me is to try and look at them from as much of a positive outlook as I possibly can. The other side of this coin is determination, to have the determination or the true grit to get through things. If you ask a lot of people in this life, what is the one predictor of success in life, a lot of them would say intelligence and education. But there's a lot of intelligent people around. I mean, there's many people who are far more intelligent than Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, but have no money at all, have not made a success out of their lives at all, because they have no determination. They haven't got that willingness to carry on and do things regardless of what else is happening around them. These people like Zuckerberg and Gates and people like them fall down and they fail and they get back up and they do it again, and they do this over and over and over again. They thrive on failure. They look at failure as an opportunity to learn about themselves and to move themselves forward towards the success that they ultimately want. I'm not saying intelligence is not needed. You do need intelligence for a lot of things in life. But if you're driving yourself down the wrong path, if you haven't thought about it, then no matter how much determination you have, you're always going to fail if it's down the wrong path. But the person with determination will eventually, if they link it with intelligence, they'll eventually figure out that they're on the path, figure out the right path to get onto, and be determined enough that they'll keep going and going and going. The thing is that drinking alcohol has its benefits. I mean, whether you look at those benefits as good or bad, whether you look at them in the long term as being harmful, which they are, quitting drinking causes conflicts, both external conflicts in your life and your surroundings, and internal conflicts in the way that you think. And the fact is that before this, we've handled our conflicts by turning to alcohol, by getting drunk and forgetting about it. It's been there to give us relief. Now we haven't got that tool. It's not there for us anymore. We can't turn to the bottle. We can't open a can. We can't go down to the pub and get lost in the atmosphere and the alcohol. It's just gone. Part of the transitioning process from being an alcohol user into being free is the discomfort that you'll have to go through. And, it's inevitable that you are going to go through a certain amount of discomfort. And that determination is going to be one of the factors that's going to help you to see that discomfort through, knowing that at the end of the day, there's a new life that's awaiting for you. As soon as you stop drinking, that new life starts. You just got to get through the discomfort, which is a consequence of your past drinking, nothing to do with drinking now. Nothing to do with needing a drink or that you have to have another drink. It's the consequence of all the drinks that you've already taken, So positivity and determinations, they're skills that you can learn. We're not born with these things. These are things that we learn as we're growing up. The things that we're they have to be nourished. They have to be nurtured. But they are the fuel to your success. If you can keep positive and keep determined, then you will succeed and you'll keep succeeding. So the final thing I wanted to talk about today was that one of the benefits of quitting drinking is that you'll have no more hangovers. One of the most beautiful things about my life without alcohol at the moment is the fact that I can get up every morning and I know there's not going to be any horrible feelings. I'm going to be able to be the same most days. Feel not this huge up and down thing that I used to feel. And I never used to feel hangovers, or I think when you're young you feel them a lot less, partly because you're drinking a lot less alcohol, and I think partly because there's a sort of a bragging thing with not admitting it, by being a man, not saying, well, I don't feel hangovers, too tough for that. Bullshit, I remember one of the first times that I ever went out and got really blathered on spirits, and I spent the night, I think I must have been sort of 18, 19, and I remember coming home. I had to be almost carried home, and I had my head stuck down this toilet, and my father was behind me as I'm retching, dry retching, and he was laughing, and he thought it was hilarious, and he was going, that'll teach you, that'll teach you, And it's one of the things that sticks in my mind, because I was thinking at that moment, I would love to could just give you one good punch now, But I knew that he was much stronger than I was, and he'd knock me out. But I remember the next morning, and the most awful hangover that I ever thought. And I didn't drink, seriously, I didn't drink for a long time after that. It took me a while before I ever went drinking again. So the fact that I'm saying, yeah, no more hangovers, I did feel them. So when we talk about hangovers, what exactly do we mean? There's always the pain after the gain. But what exactly is a hangover, and what does it do to your body? Well, we all know how easily it is to get the alcohol down in the first place, and for me, the ultimate goal always was to drink until I couldn't drink anymore, on most occasions anyway. And I think even in the early days, as soon as that first drop of alcohol touches your system, I think your security system starts to kick in. So in the early days, it'll make you dizzy, and one of the biggest ways of trying to, I suppose, stop you from doing it again, or to say, well, this is bad, is when you start vomiting. Nobody likes to do that. So, but it's a protective way of your body, getting rid of the stuff in the first place, and that shows you that it's a bloody poison. I've heard people saying, well, when you wake up in the morning and you haven't got the numbing effect of the alcohol anymore in your system, that's when you start to feel the withdrawal. And whatever way you want to call this thing, it's the effects of the poisoning. I've heard that as a description for an alcoholic is that the later you go in your drinking life, and the more you drink, that the withdrawal is in effect the alcoholism, that it's your need for another drink. But in essence, the withdrawal is the consequence of the drink that you've already drunk, not because you need more. We tend to go for more alcohol because in some ways it alleviates the horrible feelings, it alleviates the symptoms of the poisoning. When as far as symptoms go, that's one of the few medical parts of it, is that once you are poisoned, it is a medical condition then. So apart from the alcohol poisoning, one of the other reasons why you're hungover and why you feel bad is because you're probably completely dehydrated. There is a natural chemical in your body called vasopressin, and that regulates the amount of water that's contained in your system. We're made of whatever 70-75% water, and that has to be constantly monitored and regulated so that you don't have too little, you don't have too much. And alcohol suppresses this. So alcohol suppresses the vasopressin and causes all sorts of havoc. One of the things that it does, while your body is screaming out for water, is that your brain starts to shrink, and I don't know if it's rattling around in your head, but I always used to get really bad headaches when I had the hangover. And other factors of the hangover include irritation of the stomach. You've got electrolyte imbalances, lack of sleep, all the other crap that's in the alcohol that was in the alcoholic drinks that you've been drinking, amongst the many other different things that are causing the bad feeling, But I'd say mostly it's the alcohol poisoning, the toxins in your body. If no matter what poison you take into your system, I would presume I've never been poisoned by. I've had food poisoning, and that was fairly bad, but that was a different sort of a thing. But I felt just as bad as hangover with it. So in the beginning, you were talking about hangovers and reactions to alcohol that are, your body is just, what the hell is this? And if you wind the clock on maybe 10 or 20 years into the future, and you've gone through this hangover thousands of times now, you've gone through the whole thing, the whole cycle of drinking and getting drunk and sobering up and recovering, and that eventually is going to take its toll on your system, on your organs, on your muscles, your joints, your blood, your brain. As you age, anyway, these things are not going to work as well as they used to do anyway. But you're adding a lot more pressure and a lot more. You're speeding up the damage, really. So the older you get, the more hangovers you're going to experience, and just because of this extra damage. So really, that's one of the benefits of quitting drinking, is that you will never have a hangover ever again, which is absolutely brilliant. Wake up with a smile on your face instead. So if you have any questions or comments about that, leave a comment below, or go over to YouTube if you're on YouTube and leave a comment there. Also, you can sign up for the newsletter, which is absolutely free. There's a new book coming out soon. It's 7 Steps to Alcohol Freedom, and you can also get Stop Drinking Alcohol at the moment on the website, and the audiobook. If you've already bought the book, could you do me a massive favour and leave a comment over on Amazon? It doesn't have to be long, just 1 or 2 sentences. It just helps to bring the book up in the rankings, and everything here, all the things that I do here, making the videos and the website and stuff, are all funded by the books now. So I'd really appreciate it if you do that. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. Onwards and upwards.